Holly. Hey. Hello. You guys haven't seen my barn in a long time. Hey, Alex. And I don't know what that is. I'm going to call you Alex. I know, the sound of crickets. There's our barn. That's my dream barn. That was on my dream board. How you guys doing? So I have to be honest with you, I was kind of like really enjoying my afternoon in the hammock and didn't really want to pop on here. And then I started thinking, you know what, I need to get over myself. And this is probably exactly how a lot of us feel when we are about to go teach a class. And, oh, Alexandra tweets. I got it now. I just couldn't put it together and see it. My eyes couldn't comprehend. Right? We feel this way. Like we just don't want to do it. We want to procrastinate. We want to do other things. So I gave myself a little kick in the butt and here I am now. If you are brand new to my scopes, my name is Jackie Ritz. I am a Blue Diamond in doTERRA. Been a part of doTERRA essential oils for about almost 3 years now. I am an essential oil guru, a do-it-yourself guru. I love creating my own products and stuff, and that's me. So here I am on my farm in North Carolina, and I help other people all across the world and on my team in doTERRA create an income in doTERRA, or, you know, those wonderful product users that we have. I teach and educate them how to use their essential oils. So that is me. I'd love to hear more about you guys at some point. Maybe we'll meet each other one day. So if we do, come up and tell me more about you. If you guys have been following my Periscopes for a while, I've kind of been trying to pop on here and share tips with you guys. Very, very practical tips for you on teaching classes and building a business in doTERRA. I might not be on your upline, so, you know, take what I say with a grain of salt. Obviously, I tell people to, you know, talk with their upline and get that mentoring from them. But this is kind of just my tips, things that I've learned as I've been in network marketing for 3 years now. And I've also been an entrepreneur and business owner for over 5 years now. That is a good question, Paula. I'll make sure to kind of address that. If you're new to Periscope, you can swipe left to right and share this right now with your Periscope followers on Facebook, which I would greatly appreciate if you wanted to share and you found value in this. If you agree with what I'm saying, then you're more than welcome to give me some hearts. I'm close to 1 million hearts, and kind of that was my goal a long time ago, and it took forever to get there, but I'm close to 1 million hearts, so I've never had 1 million anything, so I just love that. That's just great. And I thank all of you guys. But today, I'm going to talk with you guys about presenting yourself and doing classes and some really practical tips for doing that. Thank you guys for sharing. I appreciate that. Yesterday, I talked about making initial contact with people, so I'm kind of going to take you guys through a series of, you know, what to do with people and how to bring them through their doTERRA walk of life. And so if you've been in doTERRA, you know that leads to 3 different ways. You know, either somebody wants to use the products and love the products. Actually, 82% of doTERRA people want to do that. There's people who just love sharing and talking, and they don't care about making money, but they are, and they have no idea. And that was me at first. And then there are those entrepreneur-minded business people. They want to make money, and they want to take this thing all the way. So you're going to meet all those different kinds of people in your business in doTERRA. And, you know, it's really good to understand where somebody's at. Yesterday we talked about making initial contact. So the way that I instruct people to get started with their business is create a names list of 200 to 500 people, and then you're going to make initial contact with them. And now you watch that Periscope to kind of go over that, because I'm not going to cover that today. Your initial contact with somebody is all about them. It's all about, well, and I use FORM, F-O-R-M. You know, if I don't know what to talk about, I kind of remember that acronym. Ask them about their family. F. O, ask them about their occupation. R, ask them about what they do for recreation. And then M, after you get through all of that, then you can present your message. And when you make initial contact people on your names list, or, you know, whoever you just think of, maybe throughout your day, somebody pops into your mind and you want to know how to make initial contact with them. You can follow those tips that I did yesterday, but that should only be about 1 minute to 2 minutes long. And like I said, that's all about them. Well, tell me more about that. Well, tell me about your kids. Tell me about your husband. What's he do? Tell me what you like to do for fun. Why are we doing that? Why is that so important in this business? Type it in the chat right there. Why is that so important that we really get an understanding of that prospect that we're talking to? What you guys got for me? What do you think? It's a relationship business. That's right. That is absolutely right. And the more that you can get them talking about themselves, the more that you understand what their needs are. You can find common ground. That's right. We can serve them better. I love that, Nicole. We want them to know that we care. We can learn their needs. So that is all 100% true. I love that. There's an oil for anything, and you're searching to find solutions for them. Exactly right. We want to know what their needs are, and we want to know what that pain point is that we can address their needs with. There's people doing classes and parties and things all over the place now. And so what makes you different, right? What makes you different? What are you bringing to the table that's different than the other person? You know, and what that is going to be, it's going to be something that you offer as a solution to a pain that they're having. All right. So, let's just talk about somebody who should never be building this business. All right. And this is somebody who's maybe not ready to build a business. And they probably shouldn't be. Somebody who hates people. If you don't like people and you don't like, you just don't like people, then this probably isn't the right business for you. So I'm just going to save you lots of time right now and just recommend that you find something else to do. Or pray and ask God to give you a heart for people. And I believe if you do that, then God can do that for you. So how do you know if you're ready to really start your business and to start doing classes? One, you have to make a decision that you are going to do this regardless of what your friends say, regardless of what your prospects say, regardless of what your family might think of you, regardless of anybody else in your life other than your spouse, right? That's a different conversation. And we had a Periscope the other day about that with me and my spouse. You have to make a decision that you're going to do this regardless, and you're going to go full force, and you're not going to quit. That is the most important thing in doTERRA. I've seen people get to the rank of silver and they quit. I've seen people start, enroll 20 people in their first month and they quit. You have to make the decision that that is not an option for you. Also, you need to believe without a shadow of a doubt that you are going to do this. And by doing this business, you're going to help yourself by helping others. And so that can relate to the business side and the product side. You're going to do this in a way where you're going to help others get more natural solutions in their house, make more natural swaps, green cleaning, my cow's down there. I use, essential oils on her. You're going to help people learn how to do that. Also, if you've been a part of doTERRA for a while, you know that one of the biggest things you have to do is find business partners. And so you have to make a decision that, and in helping other people, you're gonna be able to help others succeed in this business. You have to be willing to put that time in for them. Another thing you need to ask yourself is, are you sold on this business? Are you sold on it? Are you sold on the products? Are you sold on the oils? If you're not, then I recommend you kind of taking some time, buying some of our stuff and experimenting with them. And I tell my team all the time that I'm like, if you're going to be talking about a certain oil or a product, then you need to be using that on yourself. Okay, the more that you use the oils, the more that you use the products, the more that you take the supplements, the more experiences and testimonies and stories you're going to have to share with other people. So that is so, so important. Are you sold on the business opportunity? Do you believe in the company? Do you believe in the compensation plan? Do you believe in the business opportunity? Do you believe in corporate, the executives? Do you believe in all that? That is so, so important. And that's a huge part of this business. As you are approaching other people and sharing about doTERRA, you have to have that belief in the company, in the product, and in yourself. So it takes some people a long time to get to this point to where they feel like they're ready to actually do a class. And so I wanted to make sure that I shared those with you guys, just in case you're not at that place. It's not hard to get there. You have to open up your heart, open up your mind to be willing to learn more, and just be willing to be teachable. You know, we have, actually, it's so exciting. I wasn't planning on sharing this, but we're about to have our first diamond this month. And this is somebody who has been extremely teachable for us. So teachable. And, you know, and that's one of the reasons why this person was able to get to diamond, so quickly. Very teachable, did exactly what we, helped them to do, and, made the best decisions for their business. Are you convinced that this is going to work for you? Are you convinced that this is going to work for you? Or are you in it, I don't know the right word to say it, but are you in it lukewarm? You have to be all in. If you're not completely convinced that this is it for you, that this business can take you to your dreams, okay? Right over there, guys. That was my dream, my red barn. I wanted a big red barn, and that was on my vision board for years and years and years. And I was convinced that doTERRA was going to get that for me, but I had to take action. I had to continue to up-level my personal development and my business development, and I had to be very, very teachable to my uplines and the things that I was learning. So, those are some of the questions that you need to ask yourself. And if you're not there yet, it's okay. I wasn't there. It takes some people 3 weeks, 3 months, 3 years to get to that spot. And so you have to appreciate the journey, right? It's not in the destination. We've heard that before. It's in the journey that we take as we're going toward our goals and our dreams. So some of my tips that I have for you guys for working with prospects and also then teaching is, one of the most important things when you're doing a class is to get there early. And I can't tell you how many people I have seen who have not showed up to their classes early. And the reason why this is so important is not only because you need to set up your stuff, get the drinks, get the oils out. That's not it. The reason why this is so important is because what happens before your presentation in your class, I'm wait for that car to go by, is key. Because there are things that you're going to prep somebody for. I think it's been said that a person's decision on enrolling and purchasing a starter kit, only about 15% of it is made during class. It's everything before that class that gets somebody to that spot, the buying line. We call it the buying line. All right, where are they on the buying line? It takes them a while to get there. And it has a lot to do with that initial contact, that follow-up before, those reminders that you're going to send them, those samples that you're going to sample them, and getting them to that buying line is going to take some time and some effort. I guess everybody's coming home on the farm. So my recommendation to you is to get to class early. And because you're able to talk with people beforehand, you're able to kind of put samples on them. You put wild orange and peppermint on their palms as they're coming into your class. Just being a part of and welcoming them and getting them in that spirit of learning is very important. All right, so another really important thing that I wrote down is you want to make sure, and if you guys haven't watched my scope from last week, I did a scope on 20 objections and how to handle them. And it was how you can respond to objections during your class. So I recommend you kind of go through and look at that on my Periscope account. But when you have an objection in your class, to make sure that you don't ever argue. Don't ever argue with your prospects, or don't ever argue with the people who are at your class. I personally make it a habit of smiling, even if I am getting an objection. My heart is not to prove them wrong. My heart is just to show them a different way. And so, that's one really important thing to keep in mind as you're teaching your classes. You will get people who might raise their hand and ask you something or have an objection afterwards. Smile and, watch my Periscope from last week, and you can see some of the tips for handling those objections. Another thing that you want to make sure is that you guys know, like, if you've gotten past that beginning part that I talked about, you believe in the oils, you believe in the product, you believe in the company, then you shouldn't have to argue your point anyway. You should know and you should believe what you believe and what you believe. You know what you know what you know. And there's nothing that can change that. And the most successful people in doTERRA are the ones who believe that, and they have that mentality. They believe what they believe, and you know what, when you're talking to somebody and this isn't for them, okay, that's okay. There's somebody else out there. And so a smart business builder in doTERRA is someone who doesn't get hurt by those no's. In fact, on our team, and I'm sure on yours, you celebrate those no's, because statistically, you have to get through 5 no's to get to 1 yes. And so we get through 1 more no, there's a yes, and it's closer and it's closer and it's closer. So make sure that you're not offended by those no's, and it just is 1 step closer to the next yes. Another thing that you want to do is set up an atmosphere of buying. So we call it a buying atmosphere. And this is an atmosphere where people feel like you are not pitching them. You don't even sound like a salesperson, and they really like you. Like, you just want to be likable. And so set up a buying atmosphere as you're starting your class. And I love to say something at the beginning of the class around the lines of, you know what, you're probably sitting there and, and during the class, or I'll say during the class, maybe you're sitting there and this is just nothing, this isn't for you. And I just want you to know that that is okay. Like, I'm just glad that you're here, and I just hope that you have a good time. So that way, the more safe people feel to say no, the more they're going to say yes. All right. So if they feel like they don't have to say yes, and like you're not going to pitch them and you're not going to force it out of them, they're going to relax. And the more yeses you're going to see that you're going to have. And never ever beg and convince people. Like, this is something that they have to, we're talking about that journey. They have to go through that journey and figure out for themselves that this is for them. And so another thing that you always want to do is, when you are closing your class, ask a question. And if you're doing a one-on-one, if you're doing a phone call, if you have just a group, or on Skype or Zoom, however you're doing it, ask them a question. And that's why I love seeing their health goals. And during my class, I have them pause and write down what some of their health goals are. And so my question will be, I'm looking at your health goals right now, and, how would you feel if you had to live like that your entire life? Something like that. Or how would you feel if, you were never able to sleep better? That's, you want to get them talking. And if you can get them talking, they will actually come to the assumption or realization of buying themselves. You don't have to buy it for them. They'll probably talk themselves through that, and you'll see them, pulling out their credit card or looking at the starter kits, pointing at which one they want. So you know, just be honest in everything that you do. One of the most powerful things that you could say during a class is when somebody asks you a question and you legitimately don't know what it is. One of the most powerful things that you can say is, you know what? I don't know. I don't know this answer, but let's go to the books and let's look it up. You know, if they're asking you an oil suggestion and maybe you just don't know, because I don't know all of them. I know most people don't know all of them, and that's the beauty of this business, is you don't have to know all of them. In fact, when you say something like that, they're going to look at you and go, wow, I could probably do what she's doing. I could get my own book and I can look it up with them. You know, and if they ask you a crazy off the wall question, maybe it's not even about oils, it's about maybe the business or the compensation plan, or it's just something you don't know right now, you can say the same thing. You know what? I don't know, but I have somebody who does know in my upline, and let's get them on the phone afterwards, or let's get together with them and we can ask them together. Okay, so if you don't know something, don't act like you know it. If there's an objection that you don't know how to answer, be completely honest and say it. All right, there's nothing wrong with being vulnerable and showing that, you know, that you're an honest person in that. And always, always, always make sure that when you are teaching your class, and I've said this 1,000 times, just to come from a service angle, not a sales angle. And one of my favorite books on this topic is Being a Starfish by Neil Anderson. You want to be somebody who isn't a selfish, and somebody who wants to sell and wants to make money and wants to up rank and wants to have a good, you know, paycheck. You know, if you are that kind of a person in doTERRA, you're going to have a really hard time doing this by yourself, because you are going to do it by yourself. You know, you're not going to attract business builders. You're not going to attract people who want to partner with you because you look like a selfish person. But if you are somebody who is what he calls a starfish, and you are approaching people from an angle of service and helping them and really caring and nurturing their needs and helping them, and I can't tell you how many times I've given samples to one person and they haven't enrolled yet. That's okay. I'm just going to keep giving them samples, and because they really need them to help out. And one day, the door is always open for them to actually buy their own oils. And I know the time will come, and it has. And in fact, it's happened before where I've given samples to somebody. I've followed up. I've talked with them for a year. And it took a while. But do you know what kind of phone call I got? Hey, Jackie, so those oils, they really work. And I've been looking at the starter kits, you know, and I think I want to join with the every oil kit. No kidding, guys. I've had several people do that to me. So always keep the door open. If you feel that somebody isn't going to purchase it right now, that's just right now. There's always another day, another month, another year. So keep the door open, and you know what? Those people usually become really great business builders. All right, so always approach people from an angle of service and not sales. So I hope that this scope encouraged you guys in some of your presentations. I do have I actually did a scopinar a few days ago on how I present, and, you know, it was very different than how I do it in person with somebody. You know, it's more of a dialogue with, you know, whoever I'm sitting with or whoever I'm teaching a class with. But you're welcome to look at that and see some of the ways that, you know, I kind of transition into, you know, closing, talking about the kits. But we'll address closing in the next scope. But Abby, it is on my Periscope account, and you should be able to find it if you were to go to my account. It is called Essential Oils Scopinar, and it's just basically a presentation I did on Periscope. So you're more than welcome to check that out and, you know, see if it's something that you enjoy and want to watch. But that's it, everybody. I think those were my biggest tips. And if you have any questions, I can take a minute or two right now to answer those. So if you want to type those in for me, I will answer those questions for you and give you guys a little Q&A right now. Does anybody have any questions about presenting, doing classes, doing one-on-ones? My kitty just wants to sit on my lap right now. You're gonna photobomb. Oh, ouch. All right. Well, then we will go ahead and log off. My husband is actually making fajitas for us right now, so sheet pan fajitas. What do you do when your friends and family are scared of the oils? I ask them questions. Why are you scared of them? You know, really figure out why. See, the cat just scratched me. Really figuring out why they're scared of the oils. What kind of experience have they had? What oils have they tried? Where did they get them from? All of those are really good questions with trying to figure out why somebody is scared of the oils. So you really, the biggest thing with objections or, you know, things like that, the biggest thing is asking questions to them. All right. If they're scared of reactions, I would ask, well, have you actually ever tried them? Have you actually ever tried, you know, doTERRAs? Have you, how are you using them? Look at that. It's crazy that I'm bleeding. So, yes, a one-on-one is, for me personally, my one-on-ones are exactly the same as my classes. I use the same tear sheets. But it's more dialogue, so it's very open. And I prefer one-on-ones. I've enrolled more people from one-on-ones than classes. So I really thrive in a one-on-one environment. The only thing with one-on-ones is that you have to do, you know, 10 one-on-ones if you were to do one class of 10 people, you have to do 10 one-on-ones. I know, I need to put some correct X on that. So I personally use the tear pads from Edge in the Edge Success System. So those are the tear pads that I use, but there are so many out there that are so wonderful. When I send a sample, I wait 2 days. I wait at max 48 hours. And what I do is when I give them a sample, I'll tell them how to use it. I'll get their phone number. I'll write down, you know, how to use that sample. And then I'll ask them, you know, is it okay if I call you in a few days, you know, to see how this lavender is working? And they'll say yes, okay, because they got something for free, so they, you know, they kind of feel obligated. So they'll say yes, and then I will get their number, and I will make sure that I call them in 2 days. And I'll ask them, well, how did the sample work? You know, what was your experience with it? And then that's kind of when we'll, you know, do that initial contact stuff where we'll then invite them and try to get them to the next class or a one-on-one with them. So that's kind of my tips for samples. I'll do a whole scope on samples because there's so much more. But that's it, everyone. I'm going to go put some Correct X and some Helichrysum on that because my kitty cat loves scratching me. And so phone classes for me are the same thing. I do them very similar. I will actually email somebody this cat, man. I will actually email somebody you are something else. Get down. This is frankincense, by the way. That's his name. So I'll email them the tear sheets, like on a PDF, so that they can read through it with me. I'll email them the enrollment kits on a PDF so that they can read through it with me. And I do the class, I do it exactly the same. And you can mail it too. Yes, you can mail it as well. And same vocabulary or same words, just the same thing that you're doing at your one-on-one or your classes, you're doing on the phone or through Skype. So that's it. I'm going to let you guys get going. I know it's dinner time approaching for a lot of people, or you're picking your kids up from school. So I will see you guys tomorrow on another scope that we'll be doing. And I hope that you guys have a wonderful evening. Bye, everyone.